just wanted to hear like your about your MBA journey. When did you like decide to sort of go for your MBA, and what were your dream schools and how confident you were feeling about those?
Sure. So I actually decided way back in 2015, but I could not actively pursue. I was like on and off my prep, and then finally, it was in 2022 that we connected. That was a time when I had given my GMAT and I had a score, and I really wanted to apply. And by the time I had 11 years of experience, so I was not very keen on 2 years program format. I wanted to do a 1 year accelerated,
Got it.
and from US, and that's the time when I reached out to you guys.
Right.
My dream colleges, so I in US, as we all know, like it's the 1 year format is not very popular. Very few schools offer it.
Mhm.
Amongst that, USC Marshall, the Ivy MBA that I finally did was on the top.
Right.
And I also like wanted to, I applied to like Emory, Notre Dame.
Right.
So those were the other choices. But definitely USC was the first
Wow.
because it's one in California and I come from tech. So that way also it made more sense.
Got it. Got it. So that was your dream school, and you were able to get into
Like
like how
that.
confident were you feeling before you sort of decided that these are the schools and this is my dream school and I'm gonna apply to these schools? How confident were you about that?
To be honest, I wasn't very confident.
Okay.
Um, I felt that my score wasn't like a 730 or a 740.
Right.
And I also come from like Indian IT female, which is a very overrepresented pool.
Mm.
And these are like the top 15 colleges that I mentioned. So
Right.
it's really competitive to get into.
Mm.
So I was relying heavily on the way I write my essays and application part.
Right.
So that's where I really wanted somebody to help me and guide me so that my application can, get
If
me a
you
seat.
could like just share like from your experience of working with Himank, and I was also supporting him, but what were some of the things or some of the qualities that stood out to you about like working with Himank, and if there's something that you would like to share with us?
Sure. So how I first I would like to like reflect on how I learned about Himank in you.
Hmm.
So I had a friend, she was also doing her MBA in Berkeley,
Hmm.
and so she introduced me to Himank.
Got it.
And the way she introduced me, and I have known her for like really long time,
Hmm.
that he's somebody I really vouch for.
Hmm.
And he's very hardworking, diligent. And so when I heard from her, I knew that I can trust
Hmm.
Himang with this. And when I had a first conversation with Himang, I one thing that came across to me was he was very super sure how, and he had that clarity how he wants to work and what elements he wants to bring in. So I felt reassured that I am in like safe hands. So that was, and when I started working, I saw that like every time I would like ask for updates or
Hmm.
the guidance that came for my resume, for
Hmm.
my essays,
Hmm.
um, they were like very, very good. And it would just come, I would write something, and because you can be biased towards your story, you can be because it's a personal story, but how a third person's read it,
Yeah.
it's I can't be like very objective.
Right.
So every time the changes came, the that he suggested, I think that made a lot of difference. It
Hmm.
made all the difference, I would say, and it was really good.
Yeah, that's so good to
I
hear.
also
And
know.
know that like you shared a lot of your like personal stories as well.
Yeah.
And like that's something I feel which like help you outshine a lot in your essays. What sort
Yeah.
of, and it's something that not everyone might not be, comfortable sharing a lot of their personal stories. What was something that helped you feel comfortable sharing your personal stories with Himank, and then bring that, like let that bring out in your essays as well?
I think when you're working with a admission consultant, it's like that person's role also to build that, psychological safety and environment of trust which Himank and you did very well, because to open up your personal story, it's like a life journey.
Yeah.
And then you coming and, very sensitively, you like what I should mention and what I shouldn't mention. So I would say that the way you guys connected with me, you spoke to me, it was very warm, very friendly, and
Mm.
that helped gain my trust.
Mm.
And once I was trusting you, I definitely wanted to share my story and see your reaction and see your suggestions that came after that.
Yeah.
So,
So share
yeah,
like what were some of the challenges that you faced, and how would you say that Himank or like I helped you overcome that?
sure. So, because like I was, like the way I looked at my profile was a overrepresented pool,
Hmm.
like 10 plus years of experience, not a very high GMAT score. So
Hmm.
there were a lot of people who turned me down,
Hmm.
um, saying that, because of these factors. And I did not have much time. I was ready. I wanted to apply in second round because as an international student, that was my best bet.
Hmm.
And it was already December. I would have hardly had like a 1 month's time. So I really wanted somebody who could help me, like
Yeah.
if I'm talking today, maybe from tomorrow we can just start.
Hmm.
And like the frequency of exchange and updates and
Hmm.
guidance, I there wasn't much time to spare anywhere. And like I was targeting like 3 to 4 colleges. So I think that's where I was a little panicked.
Hmm.
So those were the challenges, like not a lot of people willing to help me,
Yeah.
very less time. And I did not wanted to like invest 1 more year
Hmm.
again taking the GMAT or again applying for the next maybe first round because I didn't want to be in that headspace. It's
Got
very,
it.
very exhausting. You would know that.
Got it. Yeah, I
You
know
have
that.
been in those shoes. So
Been through those.
I just wanted to move ahead. And with 1 month's time, I think you and Himang were the best I could have, you know, asked for. And I wish, like, I'm very happy that I had your support. You guys accepted to help me, and with your help, I could, like, in a month's time, less than a month's time, I was ready with my applications, my essays were done, and I could
Just
apply on time.
one last question, like since you mentioned like discouragement that you might have faced in terms of like from other people for your score, just wanted to understand did you consider speaking to other consultants? What was your experience trying to get like support from like other folks in the industry?
So one thing I understood during my journey was people, other consultants, they want to help you when they see that you already have the elements that it takes to, you have a good score. There was something that is some like a lot of career spikes or, but to begin with a very, very good GMAT score. They would ask you to go back, take the exam, and come back to them with a better score.
Hmm.
So those were the things I was being turned down on, and it was like also if you want to do 1 year MBA, what's the hurry? I mean, you can do it anytime.
Hmm.
And I didn't want to, like, if I'm very clear in my head, I want to do this, then I would want to do it as soon as I can. And I don't want to didn't want to invest 1 more year. So that was something which I was hearing a lot from other consultants.
Got it. Got it. Got
And
it.
that's something which Himank, like, I mean, he never brought that up.
Hmm.
When I spoke to Himank, I had given like my attempt
Hmm.
and one attempt, and I was preparing for another. And
Hmm.
at that point, also, he told me it's better if you get a better score, but don't go with that mindset to the exam. So he even coached me very positively there that if you have that mindset that I have to get this much, if you create that pressure on you or any aspirant, it's very difficult to score in that exam environment.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And so I think it was overall very, very reassuring because I knew the person who's talking to me.
Yeah.
Um, he's himself from like a very good B school. So he
Yeah.
understands the drill. And that's something that came very handy when he was talking to me.
Yeah.
And I could see it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I like. I can understand so much what you're saying, because I also do not have a like a great GRE score. That's what I took for my exam. And Himak, like, he coached me also in ways that I needed to understand that I have given enough attempts and now I need to step back and,
Mm.
move ahead with the best I have. And like, I came to Georgetown and it's a
Yeah.
great had a great
Yeah.
summer experience.
Mm.
So I completely understand where you're coming from and the kind of pressure that sometimes we build on ourselves to, um
Exactly. Yeah.
I get it.
Mm.
Well, thank
Yeah.
you so much, Sunita. It was great chatting with you and hearing about your experience, and I'm so glad that we had the opportunity to work with you, and you're doing so well now, so congratulations.
Thank you. And it was all my pleasure too, because now talking to you after an year, I can recall what I went through, and I'm like, I revisited my experiences and my emotions at that moment. And I'm really very glad that you both, were God sent for me and you helped me. So thank you so much.